Hello everyone. On the 27th of April, we are going to have a Taurus new moon on two very important fixed stars, Hamal and Schedir. But before that, in the small hours on the same day, we're going to have the exact Mars-Pluto opposition. And this is the third in the row. It's not a rare aspect, actually. It happens every 2 years. But whenever it happens, we have the problem of power and violence. And these are not synonyms, in my opinion. I think the true, real power is not by Mars. Because, yeah, of course, I know that Mars has always a weapon, and no matter what sort of energy pattern Mars is in, it will always promote and show some sort of power. But this particular power, if you take a look at the legends and myths of Mars, you will see that Aries is not a very well loved god in the Greek pantheon. Actually, they never erected a proper temple for him. There's no temple so it's really interesting. And if you look at the myths, Aries is usually shown as someone who is powerful but an idiot, who is just exerting violence that is not necessary. So he's not a very nice character in Greek mythology. And at the same time, according to tradition, Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. But if you really look at it, and again, if you take a look at the myth, Hades, Hades Pluto never actually comes up to the upper world in his person. He never shows himself. He wears this invisible helmet. So again, Pluto is the true power behind the apparent power, and it usually represents some sort of manipulation. And to my mind, the space-time moment, especially in the small hours on the 27th, really describes this particular energy, because you have power, you have violence, and you have wisdom and manipulation at the same time. Because here's the space-time moment. So at 2:05 London time on the 27th, this is of course the day of the new moon. We have the exact Mars-Pluto opposition, but also the three astrological Liliths are quite prominent on that day. First of all, asteroid Lilith, which is revolt against injustice, is still conjunct Pallas Athena. It has been they have been traveling together for the last couple of months, really. At the moment, Lilith is about 10 minutes of an arc faster than Pallas Athena, so they are actually separating, but quite slowly. And Black Moon Lilith, which is the third turning point of the Lilith myths, describing power and knowledge and clairvoyance and endurance altogether. Actually, that is what I call power. And I always think that the true power energy in astrology are the three astrological Liliths, especially Black Moon, whereas Mars is really just violence. And yeah, you can maybe argue that, for example, if whenever Mars is in Libra, it is a very mild diplomatic power violence, but it's still violence through diplomacy, through words. Believe me, we Hungarians suffered through this during the Democrat administration of the last 4 years, and also during Obama, because they were really, really nasty to us. But what can we do? So this soft power energy is sometimes very, very hard power, believe me. And then manipulation is linked to Pluto, of course. And the reason why is because Pluto doesn't want to show himself. It doesn't want to show its true colors. So it's always kind of in the background. So when you see a Mars-Pluto opposition, you need to think what is stronger. Whether Pluto is stronger in Aquarius is not really strong, but Mars in Leo could be quite strong because it's a fire planet in a fire sign. It's in the sign of ruling, and that is what you see if you look around. Trump is trying to create some sort of agreement. It's very interesting to see how crazy he acts. And I have a very private opinion of what he is trying to achieve. My private opinion is that Trump has been elected because the powers that be realized that mankind is really running to a dead end. That what we call capitalism in its in its present form is unsustainable, and he needs to just just take this energy and put it somewhere else. And yes, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be the word we saw before the pandemic is going to come to an end, and we won't have that much means, and we everything will be much more expensive. Food, clothing, energy, everything that is necessary for human life. But is it really necessary that you go to Primark or to any clearance sale, and buy 10 different t-shirts which you won't actually even wear? Is it really necessary to buy tons of food and put it in your fridge so that it can go wrong, and then you just throw it out? Uh, Maybe mankind can learn something better. I don't know. This is what I'm hoping. I might be wrong. But this particular new moon with this power, violence, manipulation, energy pattern really signifies this space-time moment. And then the new moon at 8:30 London time, 8:31 p.m. London time, is on two bright stars, Hamal and Schedir, which we are going to look at in detail. So let's take a look at this fixed T-square. Fixed T-squares are always difficult because the T-square is a very difficult pattern. You have two squares and an opposition. And in the fixed side, it really shows this stallment, nothing is moving and everything is fixed and rigid. And so this really represents what you see in word conflicts, that they are not materializing. Any kind of new energy is not coming to the surface. But at the apex of this particular T-square is Black Moon Lilith, which is it could show the resolution of anything, because the true power is with Lilith, who leaves paradise first on her own volition. And then when she realizes that Yahweh manufactured the second wife, Eve, and this creature doesn't have a soul, then Lilith goes back into the Garden of Eden in the form of the serpent, and gives her the energy that she is lacking. And so to me, this act in itself, which requires clairvoyance in the first place, and then the willingness to go back there and look at it and resolve it. For this, you need stamina, you need endurance, you need courage, and that is true power. Those are the manifestations of power. And this particular T-square is resolved by trans-Pluto dimension jump, and we have a mini engine and the little engine. Engines are very powerful configurations because they always made up by a square. One of the two karmic aspects, the semi-sextile or the quincunx, those are karmic aspects, and a redeeming aspect, either sextile or trine. Here's the mini engine with the semi-sextile and sextile and the square, and here's a little engine, and the true engine is with the trine, a square, and the quincunx, and this one is the little engine. And if you take a look at the transcendental celestial objects, you don't have too many. On Pluto, you have Transylvania, which is an interesting region, used to be Hungarian, still almost exclusively Hungarian-speaking region in Romania. On Mars, you have Pandora and Altarf. Altarf is the fixed star, the beta star of Cancer. And Altarf in Arabic means the stair. So it gives you insight into the fight. And on Black Moon Lilith, you have Lancelot, the knight in shining armor, and Hamal, which is a Hawaiian creation goddess, who is constantly renewing herself, regenerating herself to bear even more children, more sons. And there's an interesting crib pattern in the space-time moment. A crib is made up by a mystic rectangle with two angel wings at the side. It really looks like an old-fashioned crib. It has an opposition at the middle. And as you can see, the space-time has this particular Lilith, the Dark Moon Lilith, which is the acceptance of the curse in the Lilith myth. That gives you the opposition angle of the crib. On the other side, you have Moon, Aries, and Chiron. So the moon is highlighting the Aries Chiron conjunction, which actually, if you look back in time, the last time these two were conjunct was in the early 70s. So it's a rare conjunction, and the moon is now highlighting, illuminating, and giving it psychic power. And the triple conjunction of the North Node, Saturn, Venus is still there. Venus is now before the Saturn. So Saturn is like giving it a backbone, giving it some sort of support, but also restraining it. And to my mind, this triple conjunction is really describing what is happening to the world. Venus is always conjunct Saturn every 8 months, so that should be not such a big deal. But the triple conjunction, North Node, our karmic intent, what we chose as a destiny, we have chosen as destiny, Saturn, Lord of Karma, and Venus, harmony, love, money, well-being, security. The triple conjunction shows that we really have to learn. It's our duty, it's our chosen task to learn to restrain ourselves in the earthly pleasures. Let's say this. And Uranus makes a sextile to the triple conjunction. So the Saturn-Uranus sextile is still very, very strong. So that is, oh, and by the way, and Juno, Uranus, the opposition is an important opposition, because Juno is not just the spouse or the official partner, but also covenants and pacts and all kinds of contracts. And now Uranus is kind of blowing it up. And that is what that is exactly what you see when you look at what Trump is trying to achieve. Okay, here are the transcendental celestial objects. There are quite a few. On Moon, you have two Egyptian archetypes: Anubis, the god of the underworld, and Horus, the first pharaoh. On Chiron, you have Psyche, Phaethon, and Parsifal. And Phaethon is complete destruction. You again have a knight in shining armor, and Psyche, of course, is the soul. On Venus, Saturn, North Node, you have Freya, the Norse goddess of fighting, Heracles, the hero, and Victoria, which is the goddess of victory. On the North Node, you have Melpomene, the muse of tragedy, and Alkaid is Eta Canis Major. The whole Little Bear and Big Bear constellation are about the goddess energy, the goddess and the creator goddess energy. On Uranus, you have Guinevere, the wife of Arthur, and Paracelsus, a polymath, and Alicanto and Lempo, two TNOs. Lempo is the creator god of the Finnish people, who then later on was turned into a demon when the Finnish became Christians. And this always happens when you have an old god or an old ideology, and then a new god or a new ideology comes into being, then the old one is demonized. That's exactly what Lempo stands for. And Alicanto is a nocturnal bird which eats precious metals, and when it eats too much, it is unable to fly. And so Alicanto represents the greed. And if you are too greedy, you won't be able to function according to your main function. And Argol is Beta Perseus, which is a feminine mystery school, actually. It has a very bad reputation. Agul in Arabic means the demon, so it's called the demon star. But believe me, this is a healing word for very very dark and very difficult feminine lives. And also it creates a strength in the feminine when you have this in your chart. And again, if you want to work with fixed stars, don't try to give it a bad reputation, because it can't. It can't be bad from a human perspective. Simply, you can misuse it, of course, like everything else in astrology. But think about fixed stars as things that are out there in the universe. They are not part of the human experience. We see them, but they are impossibly far away. They are higher dimensional worlds where the soul can go and learn stuff, or actually can utilize it as like some sort of sanatorium or some kind of retreat where it can heal. So these are the function of fixed stars. The problem is that whenever you work with higher dimensional energies and you download it to the third dimension, they lose their true colors, they lose their importance, or they can be misused. That is why so many fixed stars have very bad reputations. But fixed stars are not bad, believe me. They are not wicked. A centaur could, a planet could, yes, they are part of the human experience. Juno has Helena, the beautiful woman who triggered the Trojan War. Hestia, who is the prototype of Vesta, the Greek version, and it is linked to ceremonies which are very focused ceremonies. And Typhoon and Deucalion are two TNOs. Typhoon describes the disruptive powers of nature, and Deucalion describes survivor. He is the son of Prometheus, and Zeus keeps him and his wife the only people who can live through the flood and then redo mankind. So we are all the offspring of Deucalion, actually, if you go after the Greek myth. Okay, and then if you look at the nowadays, if you look at up in the sky, this is something that many astrologers talked about, that actually you might spot the balsamic moon couple of 1 or 2 days before the new moon. You have Venus, Saturn, and the moon, and it looks like a winking or a smiling moon. If you want to do that, just 1 day before the new moon, actually. So the 26th would be a perfect time, sometime at dawn. And here's the Taurus new moon on Hamal and Schedir. As I said, it's at 8:31 p.m. London time. And Vesta is on the ascendant. So we have a Scorpio ascendant, so Pluto, the Mars-Pluto opposition actually is becoming very, very prominent this particular new moon, is because Pluto is the chart ruler. And Vesta is on the ascendant, giving us the focusing principle, the importance how to focus on your life. The sun moon is on the descendant just after sunset in London, and Jupiter is on the vertex, which means that be careful with what you do in these couple of days, because it could get out of hand. Here's the Pallas Athena Lilith conjunction. As I said, they are still very tight, but already separating. Chiron Aries is becoming stronger. They will be conjunct in May, and actually they are already conjunct. They are just 1 degree within 1 degree at the new moon. And here you have this fivefold conjunction. Neptune is already in Aries, of course, but Ceres is coming up to a conjunction with Saturn and the North Node, and Venus will be moving into Aries by the end of the month in a couple of days. And there's this complex planetary picture. There's a wide fixed T-square. Very interesting. If you look at the aspect grid, you will find that the sun and the moon at 8 degrees Taurus they don't really have too many aspects. So I accepted this wide T-square. Don't forget that Black Moon Lilith is right here, so it actually could be a ground cross, but I decided not to utilize the ground cross because what I wanted to show you that yes, you can use wider orbs with the sun and the moon, but this is separating. So the sun and the moon are already at 8 degrees, and Mars and Pluto are at 4 degrees. So it's really stretching a little bit. But if I didn't put this in, we wouldn't have any configuration. So so at the apex is the sun and the moon, highlighting and illuminating the stressful energy patterns that are out there. And there is a 10th triangle as well, square, semi-square, and sesquiquadrate, created by the sun moon, Ceres, the nurturing principle, and Astrea, the karma breaker. And the two structures are linked by two noviles. A novile is 40 degrees. It's 1/9 of the circle, and it is linked to altruism and sacrifice. And the sun moon is in novile with Venus, Saturn, and the North Node. And so actually it's the harmonious self-restraint that is giving you the sacrifice. And Pluto is making a novile with Astrea, the karma breaker. So actually there is this transformation in order to break old embedded karma. That's what we need to do. And this is the hunch I have, that we won't have our life as we had. And you know what? Maybe we could learn really to use sparingly our resources. This is what we should learn, I think. Anyhow, here are the transcendental celestial objects. On the sun moon, you have Isis, the goddess, who is redoing things, who can, you may remember that Osiris is torn into 14 parts, but Isis comes, finds the portions and puts him back into life again, at least for one night, so that she can conceive Horus. Astronomia, which is the views of astronomy, and Hamal and Schedir are the two bright stars. Hamal is Alpha Aries, and Schedir is Alpha Kassiopeia. These two stars are at 7-8 degrees of Taurus, but they are very far away from each other when you look at the declinations. Hamal is Alpha Aries, which is a zodiacal constellation, so it's quite close to the ecliptic, and it is a fighting star. It gives you the drive that I know what I want and I will do it. It's a very masculine star. Whereas Schedir is Alpha Kassiopeia. Kassiopeia was the queen of Ethiopia, so she's the wife of Capheus, and she's very vain, and she's very beautiful, but she is constantly talking about her own beauty and hurting the Nereids. And so Poseidon is punishing her, actually punishing the whole country by a huge whale. And Perseus, the hero, is actually rescuing Andromeda. And Cassiopeia is actually, it symbolizes the queen who is actually so beautiful that she can do whatever she thinks she can do, whatever she wants. That's a very feminine star. So on Schedir you learn to utilize your feminine powers, and on Hamal you learn to utilize your masculine powers. And so if you are born now and your birthday is around the 27th, you have these two stars on your sun. And it means that you are much stronger and much more self-assured than an average Taurus could be. And on Venus, why did I put Venus? Sorry, I always do this in Hungarian first, and I never really spell check. I apologize. On Venus, Saturn, North Node, you have Heracles, the hero, Victory, and Freya, the fighting goddess of Norse mythology. On Mars, you have Pandora, Stylorus, and Altar. Stylorus, by the end of the day, Mars will reach Stylorus. And Stylorus is one of the centaurs who wants to beautify himself. Centaurs are half human, half horses, or half animal, and they are very strong in animal instincts and animal behavior, bestial behavior. And a few of them want to overcome this handicap, and Stylorus is one of them who learns the arts and is trying to find beauty in life. So it's like what Stylorus represents is it doesn't matter where you are born or what heritage you have. You can always better yourself. You can always rise above your heritage. And on Pluto, you have Transylvania again. It's the same. And on Ceres, you have Neith, which is the creator goddess of Egypt. Ptah, which is another creator god who is creating mankind as a from clay, actually, and Galahad, another knight in shining armor, and Teharon Hiawako, who is a very important archetype after the cataclysm, teaching mankind how to grow their own food. So it's like a new era is coming, and you need to learn the skills. That is what Teharon Hiawako is representing. And on Australia, you have Horemheb, another archetype which represents that you can rise above your origins. Horemheb was a slave, and he becomes a general in Tutankhamun's time. So he raises himself above all possible energies. And after Tutankhamun's death, he becomes the pharaoh. So actually, Horemheb represents the fact that you can rise, you can overcome your handicap at birth simply by achieving what is the most and best in your time. This is the new moon energy. Happy new moon, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.